msiwapige. Hapana, msiwapige. 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 Acheni. Wewe. Msiwapige. Wacha.
Kwa mili ya watoto ya mama, watoto ya Rito wamekufa, mnasuia wabunge 28, mnaua watoto 500. Hiyo moyo nani atalipa? Ama damu ijatosha kukunywa na Ruto duniani? Hajatosha damu. Alitumaliza Eldoret, mimi ni mmoja wa kumalizwa Eldoret, tena anatufuata mpaka huku, lakini ni ubaya yetu sababu tuliambia na hatukusikia. Ruto aambiwe finance bill si kubwa kuliko watoto. Yes. Finance bill si kubwa kuliko dunia. Na ajue sasa hii ni mwanzo. Hajawamaliza. Wako uhai na wamebaki wengi kuliko wale ameua. Hasikii hata huruma aone watoto ya watu wa jamani. Ruto ni nini anataka? Msimuniambie hata nyinyi.
Hello everyone, welcome to Bonya the Simplifier. You've just seen the video that I has played a while ago. I want to talk about it, maybe have a conversation and maybe have our views and maybe interrogate why we are here. How did we reach at this point? Let's talk about the Generation Z, Gen Z. These are generation that I think they are educated. They are educated well enough. They know what they want. They know their rights. Social media has opened their way of thinking. Social media has helped them in terms of how they reason, in terms of understanding what is happening around the world, and therefore it is not easy to just tell them do ABCD. They'll always ask. They'll always interrogate issues. And therefore, as a government, when you saw this thing happening, you needed to maybe find a way of talking to these youth so that we can avoid mahali tulifika. It is a generation, you cannot just tell them jump. You know, when we are being told jump, and you ask you ask maybe your parent, your teacher, how high can I jump? This generation will tell you or will ask you, why am I jumping? And therefore we need to change our conversation, change the way we handle them, the way we approach them, and therefore the elected government, the leadership, it is upon you to also bring this generation into our conversation, into our leadership, into our affairs. You cannot wish them away. They are the majority. Don't just wait to use them during voting period or electioneering. Whip the emotion, use them as a doormat, and then once you are in power, you forget about them. These youth have said, hayutawezekana. This it will not be business as usual. We must be on the negotiating table because we matter. Na ndio naona tulifika mali tulifika. These youth are asking, when will we have an opportunity? Ni lini tutasikizwa? And that's why we've seen what happened. These youth feel they have nothing to lose because they are desperate. They don't have jobs. They've gone to school. Their parents have used their resources to educate them. but they don't have job opportunities. Once a government is in place, it has whipped the emotion, it has used them. Now they forget about them. Now the government, I've seen even the current government, they use the youth during election, then they dump them like a tissue. And this generation, they said no, enough is enough. And therefore, as a government, you need to invite these youth onto the negotiating table. Listen to them, ask them questions. They ask you also questions. The issue I've never understood with any government that comes in place, they always they have this habit. They have this propensity of recycling leaders. You see a 70-year-old man being given a job that can be done by a youth. When will the youth get this opportunity? So these are the questions youth are asking. They're asking, when shall we get the opportunity? When shall we get on the stage? There are those who are lucky, but there are very few. But very few, the few that go there, they don't represent the interest of the youth. And that's why the youth are asking questions. Wanauliza maswali. Why? Ni kwa nini? And therefore, government needs to do something. You need to do something as soon as possible. Government of the day, you let Kenyans down. You never listen to the youth. You never bothered. You just decided to chest thump and tell people there is nothing they'll do. We must pass the finance bill. And that's why we are where we are. And therefore, we need to face our realities and interrogate issues and also live within our means. When this government came into place, people had hope. People had hope, a lot of hope. I thought, now this is the game changer. We have a person who understands this country. A young guy. All of them are in their 50s. They understand the terrain and the politics of this country, and therefore they will do wonderful job, marvelously. But now they are going back to the old the old ways of doing things, and that's why we are where we are. And I'm very sure this was just an example, or just a demonstration of the people's power, what people can do when a government is not listening. And therefore, I want to ask the president to be dogmatic, to be pragmatic in his approach, be wise, listen to people, and make decisions. Be inclusive, invite the youth. There is this in marketing. In marketing, there is this principle where in marketing they say, under promise but over deliver. You did the opposite, and that's why you are feeling the heat. Kindly listen to people. Listen to the advice you are being given, even in by the opposition. They always say, if you listen to your enemy, you will avoid the landmines set by your enemies. And therefore, listen to people. We'd have avoided this. Avoid these partisan politics. You are now a father figure to the nation. Listen to people. Your purpose should be to unite the country, young and old. Don't focus on now you've been given a mandate to run this country for 5 years. Before even the 5 years you are now focusing on the other 5 years. First of all, deliver to Kenyans. Deliver the promises you gave Kenyans, so that you can avoid the issues we are seeing now. For me, these demonstration or protests by the Generation Z. It's a kind of sliding door opportunity, of a sliding door moment where it has also opened up an opportunity where the government can engage the people and listen to them and know what what are their issues, what do they feel about how they are being governed. This is an opportunity for the president now to come back to the drawing board and listen to the people who elected him so that he can serve them better. He is our servant. You know, the problem nowadays in our country, when you elect people, they feel they are our masters. Yet that should not be the case. So there are issues in this country that started long way. Our successive government have ignored the issues, and the issues are those fundamental pillars of our economy has been ignored. Things that we need to tackle, things that need to be dealt with to ensure we don't have these issues. They've been ignored. We just focus, it has been politics. And that's why we are where we are. So as a president, as a leader, as the father of the nation, kindly sit down, have a team. Embrace meritocracy, avoid this tribalism. You put most of your people in government who cannot help you. Embrace meritocracy, people who can tell you the truth. This is wrong, this is right. Do not do this, do this. That's what we need. We need to move this country in the right direction. We cannot afford to lose this country. Our other generation depend on you and us to move this country to the next level. So we cannot avoid engaging one another. We are one people, and therefore we must work as a team. And therefore there are things that I feel were ignored, and as a president, you need to go back to those things and ensure that something is done about them. And if I were you, I'll just focus on 4 items to move this country in the next level. And I'm sure if you just focus on the 4, people will elect you. People will not have an issue with you. People will see you are moving this country in the right. But if you continue ignoring them, we'll have a problem. Any house that doesn't have a good foundation will have a problem. It will have to collapse at some point. And therefore, I've identified maybe 4 issues that this government could have focused on to ensure we are not in this desperate situation we are in. One of them is investing in agriculture. In agriculture, we'll handle 3 issues. 3 problems that we are having. One, we will put food on the table. Put food on the table to the many desperate Kenyans. Secondly, it will create jobs for the youth and everyone. It will create jobs, and the excess food will be able to produce. We can export them and get some income. And thirdly, it will bring income to your country. And more taxes, you will collect more taxes. So agriculture sorts so many issues, but we've ignored it. Eliminate, make sure agriculture is vibrant, agriculture is doing well in your country. Even the developed countries, they have, you look at US, they are engaged in agriculture. Yes, they are developed nation. We copy them, but we don't copy the right things. They have the biggest corn producers. Go to Germany, we have wheat. Go to Ukraine, they are the biggest wheat producers. When Ukraine had issues with Russia, we had problem with wheat. Go to Britain, go to all these great nations, developed countries, they are engaged in agriculture. France is one of the biggest dairy producers. But Kenya, we've ignored the fundamental pillars to our economy that will ensure that it absorbs our youth, it creates jobs, and it brings income to our country. Secondly, fighting corruption. Corruption is a problem in this country, and the president knows. Is a big problem. Mr. President, somebody said that if you want corruption, just look at the tone at the top. What is the president saying about this corruption? Once you are able to tackle and once you are able to identify the problem and tackle it, people will just follow suit. If you say that policeman should not take a bribe, and the inspector general allows police to take, and you fire this inspector general, now people will know you are serious about fighting corruption. You say there is no people will get jobs on merit, and you become serious about it, people will follow suit. So tone at the top, very important in fighting corruption. When people engage in corruption, you make sure they face the law. So fighting corruption, you have no option. Otherwise, we'll always be the same problem. The third one, which is very fundamental, is sports. Invest in sports. Mr. President, make sure your sporting activities, your sporting department, your sporting industry is vibrant. Sporting absorbs a huge chunk of youth, and that's why they have nothing to do. That's why they are on the street. So make sure you get something that will make them busy. Look at England. How many leagues do they have in football alone? How many people are employed because of Arsenal, because of Manchester United, because of Chelsea, because of Man City? A huge number. You cannot compare what the income, or not the income. Let's talk about the number of people employed by Manchester United, Arsenal, by any other company in this country. Nothing. You cannot compare. And therefore, sports employ so many people. And you don't need even to invest so much. Just let them run. People will come, investors will come, and now you'll be able to even export the talent to other countries. And now this one, it becomes rotational. It becomes people come and go, and it will always absorb the youth. You don't need even to get involved so much. Just put in measures to ensure that the sporting activities in your country are okay, and it will run. Remember, I can give a good example. When the president of this country invested in sports and in football, Senegal, and he started from the academies, and Senegal even went to World Cup to quarterfinals. A very good example. Why can't you even invest in football? Avoid these side shows. You are doing it for as a campaign. No, make it your priority, that you want to ensure that sports is doing well in this country. Not as a campaign gimmick. No, make it your priority that you want this sporting industry to move forward so that it can absorb the youth. Sports employ majority. So if you use an example of maybe England, how many sporting activities are there? So much. Football, basketball, cricket, so much. They can these issues is because we've ignored the fundamentals of an economy, and that's why we have these issues. And then lastly, we need to invest in ICT. ICT is $1 billion industry in terms of income and employing the youth also. In just employment, you can be a youth or an old person, as long as you understand the ICT. So we need to invest in those 4 areas. As a government, we did not require even building the houses, I don't know, the housing project. Those are things that we, as a government, you could have avoided. Just focus to ensure there's food on the table for the people. there's job opportunities for the people, and the living standards, the living standard of your people is affordable. The cost of living of your people is affordable. People are crying because they cannot afford the basic need, housing. They cannot afford food. So there are many issues. You know, once somebody is hungry, let me tell you, when somebody is hungry, even if you give him a good house, they will not feel the comfort of the house. And therefore you need to tackle the basic needs, and food is very basic. And there is one lecture I always like, and that statement, I really like that statement, that you cannot develop a country when its people are hungry. So, Mr. President, focus on making sure that your people are not hungry, then think of development. Now, you see, you are focusing on housing, you are focusing on other things, but there are people back at home, they are crying. So people will not even feel what you're doing. Even if you build highways, even if you build skyscrapers, but people are hungry, they will always cry. They will come to the street. So focus on the basics. Focus on fixing the basics. Let people have jobs, let people have food, and these things will just sort themselves. And therefore, I want to appeal to the leaders, our leaders, and those people who are involved in advising the president. Tell him the truth. Tell him the truth. And those policy makers, come up with policies that can move this country forward. Not policies that will impress the president. No. Come up with things that can move this country forward. We had a very good project, Galana Kulal. What happened? This was a game changer in this country. People went with the money. Now we thought now the president having a background in agriculture, he will now focus, he will revitalize and re-energize the agriculture sector. What happened? You see scandals in fertilizer scandal. Now, how will you move forward? How will you feed your people? So there are many issues. As a president, focus on the right thing. We just needed the 4 items. You would have moved forward. We will not see these protests. And therefore, my appeal is get your house in order so that you can move this country forward. Listen to your electorate. This country belongs to all of us. We need each other. We need to engage. We need somebody who can lead us, somebody who does not feel that he's a master. He cannot listen even to the youth. No, these are the people who gave you the votes. Listen to them, create job opportunities for them, create good conducive environment, and the taxes will just come. If you give these people opportunities to do business, opportunities to do farming, meaningful farming at affordable rate, they get something from their farms. You get taxes without any hassle. We just get taxes without any problem. But the route you've taken, pushing people to the edge, and we've ignored the fundamental that ensure people are at a safer place, at a better place to pay taxes. I think you will have issues. We'll have issues even the next government, as long as they ignore these issues. We'll have problems. And therefore, as a government, go back to the drawing board, do the right thing, and we will not have these issues as a country. Thank you so much. See you in my next video. Adios.